AfiMilk was first introduced to the North American market in the mid to late 1980s by opening a distribution center outside of Visalia, California. Most recently was the reinception or reawakening of AfiMilk USA.
It's amazing how much more time you have based on just being more efficient and not having to lock your cows up and not having to drive from one end of the dairy to the other, because everything's just right there for you.
Well, it's just like with any new technology, once you do implement it, you can't live life without it anymore. I mean, I kind of put it as a scenario as electricity. You know, how could we milk cows without electricity? It's like I can't run a dairy without AfiMilk anymore.
You can't hardly dairy anymore if you've got a dairy of any size without using a computer, so you're going to be spending time on a computer anyway, so why not spend time, I guess, more effectively? If you're going to be looking at information, the better the information is that you're looking at, the more effective it's going to be.
It's a very low maintenance system. It's easy to clean. You know, it's not, I've heard nightmare stories about other systems that you have to take apart occasionally and clean them with a toothbrush or clean them with a caustic or anything like that. And the Afi system's just not that way. I mean, it's very simple, very clean.
The Afi system seems like you could update any new options that came into the market. Nothing was obsolete, you could add to it. In other words, you could sell a dairyman something that could be added to his system, not discard something.
But there's so many different ways you can use Afi and not have to buy the whole system. I have a cousin down the road that just put in AfiAct, and he puts the leg bands on just the cows he's trying to get bred, and it's a great start to getting yourself going in AfiFarm.
The secret of the AfiMilk system is that it is modular. You can start with a very basic system and you can build upon that without ever having to throw anything away. So we just build upon the foundation that you decided that you wanted to start with.
You know, you can put in the meters, and then, which we're doing here, and then put in the leg bands, and then put in the full ID, and, you know, do it in steps. And then once you get to the complete package, now you've got what? You've got sort, you've got weight, you've got feed, you've got, you know, a never-ending array of options.
I used to tell the boys this cow's in heat, and they would just say, "Yeah, Dad, we know that the computer's spiking. We know it. You don't need to tell us."
We don't have to have as many people working around the farm because the program does a lot of the work for us. The AfiAct really helps on heat detection. You don't need to go out into the barn and watch for cows jumping for heats. It goes to the computer and it's there for you in the morning.
So I'd come out in the morning, bam, I got cows waiting for me to breed. If the cow came in heat in the morning milking, she'd sort at the noon milking automatically. So basically all I had to do, the computer and AfiFarm did everything for me. I'd just show up and see what was waiting for me to do something with.
It's been a real reliable system for us. We've used it from day one to do all of our breeding along with the AfiAct system. That's how we catch all the cows for breeding. We don't do any visual heats. Everything is done with the Afi software.
I'd rather be out there getting the work done, but it does help me decide which work to do. Because it's a system that operates by deviations, you only see a small number of cows, and I can build enough work to get me through the whole day within an hour.
I've got one herdsman doing 700 cows by himself, and Afi is a huge part of that.
There's no time involved. You know, AfiMilk, AfiFarm does all the work for you. Everything is, I don't have to do any calculations. I just have to bring up a list, I'm done.
On weekends, we're generally on a bit of a skeleton staff, and you just have a lot more confidence that these cows that are in heat, you're going to pick them up, you're going to catch those cows in heat when you're short of staff.
So since installing AfiMilk system, especially the activity portion of the AfiMilk system, just the reproduction is just phenomenal. There's no tail chalking, there's no physical walking through the strings looking for heat cows. 100% of the heat detection is done off of Afi.
Our heat detection has gone from about 59% to about 67%. If I do the math, on our farm milking 350 cows, it means we're getting about 3 or 4 more cows pregnant a month.
We breed once a day, we go through, and within 20 minutes, we have all our cows lined up. They're inseminated, put back, and takes care of the breeding for the day as far as inseminating goes.
We breed 100% off of Afi activity. Our average heat observation is 60 to 70% on a monthly basis. AfiMilk has been the one key item that has helped us improve our reproductive system.
Just to by a flick of a switch on the mouse, you can just pretty well see which cows what you want to do, where they should go. If you want to do a group change, it's a matter of just sort those cows out and just have them separate from the other cows.
You know, you can't walk through that herd of 500 plus animals and see that cow that laid there for the last 3 hours and didn't get up to eat. You know, there's problems when you look in the computer, you find it.
We can pinpoint and we know where each cow is. As long as the input is correct, we know where each cow is, and we can sort them out and know exactly where they are in the barn and bring up a list.
It's a fairly easily run program, and Ingrid is certainly and quite capable of looking at the reports or making changes to what has to get done, yes.
Everything with the milking procedure is all documented. Makes it very easy to make decisions on an individual cow level. Other than physically looking at a cow, it can tell you everything physiologically about her that you may or may not like.
You don't want to call a cow off of one bad day. You could keep her around a little longer and make a little more money before you have to get rid of her. So when we make a decision to call a cow, we know it's time to call a cow.
We have not used drugs as far as tubes on this dairy, other than dry tubes, you know, for the last 15 years.
Jesse's our guy that treats the hospital. He's much more effective if he's looking only at the cows that he needs to look at and not looking at every cow that could be in that pen. So I can look at my milk weights with confidence, and I rarely go out and look at the cow before she gets called out. I just look at the report, make the list, pull the cows out, look at them when they're in the pen, and like I said, I can't remember the last time I said, oh, that was a mistake, I shouldn't have beat that cow. So,
you know, a cow can start to drop, and she can drop for a week, but maybe it's because she was lame or she was sick, and then she starts to come back up, and we can see that right away, and then maybe not get rid of that cow as soon as possible. So it makes us more selective, and we can raise the bar, which is what we're always trying to do, is raise the bar, and that's how we get to 90 pounds of milk and 93 pounds of milk.
I think the most valuable part of our AfiMilk system is the milk weights and being able to make culling decisions, and also decisions on sick cows, that if they've dropped the milk, if they're sick, if they're still milking, they're still healthy.
If I look at the valuable parts of the system, I have to put the pedometers on top. We're blown away every time again what it does for us. Production is, of course, is always nice to know, but especially in a heifer barn, we have never seen results like this.
I mean, as far as having daily milk weights, it's just like we have a test every day. So I can make decisions on the fly as far as which cows I got to cull, which cows I got to move into the lower ration to maximize feed efficiency and return on my investment in feeding that animal.
Fresh cow summaries, how good are your fresh cows doing? That's something that we look at a lot, and it's very accurate. If you don't have daily milk weights, you're looking at usually at best once a month. You check all your cows, and that's a lot better than nothing. But having it every day is a lot more accurate.
It doesn't take as much time as you might think. I would say after each milking, one of us will sit down for about 10 minutes at the computer, and that 10 minutes is enough time to call up all the deviation lists, all the reproductive lists, the cows that are in heat, to go through those lists of cows that the computer is thinking are for some reason not performing based on their normal performance.
Having that daily record, every pen, every cow, basically I can look at every single cow, every milking, and if there's something amiss, I have my finger on that almost immediately.
I frequently hear the comment from a customer that there is so much in AfiMilk that they're not using it all.
And we've had lots of people come here that just cannot believe the information is what is there.
It is fairly user-friendly. It's a Windows-based system. Once we learn how to use it, You can make any report you want to make. You can find any information on there that you want to find. Over time, I've been able to narrow that list down to exactly what I wanted. We've done little experiments with groups on some ration changes. We could usually, find that things were working or not working.
Just knowing exactly what your cows are doing every single day. It's a tool that you can use as much as you want or as little as you want, but you can never completely use every single aspect of it.
With AfiFarm, AfiMilk, you get so much data. It depends how you use the data. I mean, as far as the milk and efficiency, it's something that people really don't look at. I can look at my employees just like I look at my people as far as the parlor efficiency, what's getting done inside the parlor. I can tell when corrals were closed or, gates were closed when they started the next string. Cows milked in the wrong string. I can see anything that happens on the dairy if I'm not here that day.
I don't want to watch my employees 24 hours a day. I don't have to watch my employees 24 hours a day. But if we run into some kind of an issue, then I can go in and look at the milking efficiency reports and see, what time they started milking, how many cows they milked an hour, what time they loaded a cow, what time they closed the gate, how long between the time they closed the gate to the time they put the machine on the cow. And that right there will tell me if they are performing their procedure the way that we want it done. And in our case, the answer is always yes. I mean, I've never found anything on an efficiency report that's really thrown up a red flag.
It's always traceable back to an employee. We don't normally police the employees like that, but when we need it, it is there. We normally have a very good crew and we don't have a problem with it.
Over the course of 2 weeks, there might be 14 different people who will do the milking. And the reports that come out of the milking parlor shows us the flow rate in the first 15 seconds, the average milking time per cow, the number of reattaches in the parlor, and you really start to see the difference between different employees and how they're milking the cows. And it gives us the opportunity to manage those milkers and point out, you're doing something different than everybody else is. I don't know what it is, but let's work on your protocols to make sure that we're all following the exact same protocols every day.
I can keep track of how efficient the guys are in the parlor with the milk flow, if they're doing correct prep. That's a really beneficial tool to have, that you can say, okay, you guys aren't doing something right, and you can get it fixed.
The herdsman or myself are not in the parlor 100% of the time, and the AfiMilk system is better than having a video camera in the parlor. We can see what the load rate is. We can see the attachments. We can see the number of seconds between each attachment, and it allows us the ability to be able to tell whether or not proper milking protocol or parlor protocol is being used or not used. And it gives us an opportunity to be able to pinpoint the individuals that are responsible for that particular session, and then give them a pat on the back and thank them for being efficient.
With the AfiMilk system, it's been a lot easier for me to maintain the parlor performance and figuring out how guys are doing and watching how my letdowns are going and maintaining daily milk weights and being able to cull a little more aggressively and a little more accurately.
There are two main goals that AfiMilk USA has. First part of that goal is to allow the dairyman to use less investment necessary, either to invest in a new AfiMilk facility, modify or build upon an existing facility to upgrade it to our latest technology, or maybe more importantly, to maintain his existing system. The other part of that goal is to help him get more value from the system by understanding how his system works better. We do this through the dealer networks. We do this through more direct support to the dealers as well as the dairymen.
There was always somebody on the premise just almost daily in the beginning to find out what was wrong and how they could improve the system as far as software went. And from the very first program we put in and to finally it was up and going in 6 months, was just unreal, the support and the dedication they had to the system. We may have one of the oldest Afi systems in existence. It's been in here 20 years. We have confidence in the system. The system's very simple. I believe in the beginning that was one of the things we liked about the system. I can do all of the repair work needed. Through the years, I've learned to deal with all of the problems. There is the technicians there if you need them, but in my particular case, with an older system, it is maybe drawing back on some of the older employees to help me through some of the problems. However, I haven't had that need. And basically, just because of the simplicity of the system, it's pretty much self-diagnostic. When I have a problem, normally I can find it or pinpoint it very simple and the problem can be resolved.
We've reduced labor costs, we've gained efficiencies. We don't have to lock our cows up because they're getting sorted out automatically right outside the milk barn. And so our intakes are higher, cows are calmer. Man, it just sure seems to be a smoother running operation.
It definitely is going to increase your management ability and your ability to oversee the whole operation.
I would absolutely recommend the Afi system. On the heat detection side alone, it pays for itself, and then there's numerous other benefits, kind of side benefits that are just kind of icing on the cake. The payback kind of depends where your level of management is at the beginning, but I think I could easily say that within a year and a half, the system will have paid for itself.
I think it's beneficial. I think they have a very good milk meter, and the software program is great. The Afi program is great.
You're not taking two guys out the barn to find this cow that needs to be trimmed or to find the cow that needs to get bred. It's just so much more relaxing. It has really made our bottom line a lot better shape. Cost of production has really gone down because of it.
I think it's very unique in California. We only have 12 milking stalls, and all 950 cows go through those 12 milking stalls. Our return on investment was 1 year it was paid for.
Dairies get more automated and there's less work to do all the time, and so yeah, dairymen can get fat. So anyway, you're gonna have an exercise. Instead of driving your pickup around the dairy, ride a bike.
If a person wants to get down to the fine-tuning of a dairy, it would be awful hard to have it without technology. And with the systems out there that I'm aware of, I'm sold on the Afi system at this point.
You have to move ahead with technology. It's the people that implement technology first that are the benefits of the technology. The people that wait to see it because they're going to perform, the time has already flown by. So I would have to say, if you don't implement Afi, you shouldn't build a new barn.